Alright, so today I'm going to be showing you how to do a simple stoichiometry problem. The question is, how many moles of chlorine gas would react with 5 moles of sodium according to the chemical equation that I've shown here? So I have sodium, and that's a metal, so it's represented just with its symbol. Chlorine gas, remember, that's one of our diatomic gases that we had to remember, so it doesn't exist as a single atom, but as 2 chlorine atoms chemically bonded together. And then they form sodium chloride. So the first thing we notice is that this equation is not balanced, and to do any stoichiometry problems, you're going to want to remember to always balance first. Alright, so the way I do this is that I divide my equation down the middle and I count up the atoms on each side. Remember, the goal of balancing is to make the number of each type of atom equal on both sides. So right now I have 1 sodium atom and 2 chlorine atoms over here, 1 sodium atom and 1 chlorine atom over here. So it's not balanced right now. I need to make these equal. So right now I have 2 chlorines over here, and to make 2 over here, I have to put a coefficient of 2 right there, which changes the number of chlorines to 2 and the number of sodiums to 2. Alright, so now I look over here and I realize, well, by fixing the chlorines, I actually messed up my sodiums, but that's okay, because now what I can do is I can put a 2 in front of the sodium, and that fixes everything. My equation's balanced now because I have the same number of sodium atoms and the same number of chlorine atoms on each side. Now that my equation's balanced, I'm ready to do the stoichiometry problem. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the information I've been given. So I'm going to underline that right here. I have 5 moles of sodium. So I'm going to write that down, 5 moles. I abbreviate moles. And for stoichiometry, we're always going to indicate the species, the atom or compound that we're talking about. Okay, so that's how many moles of sodium I have, and I want to know how many moles of chlorine gas are going to react with that 5 moles of sodium. And so remember what the coefficients tell us. They're like a recipe. They tell us the ratios between the different atoms and molecules. So for example, this equation tells me I need 2 sodium atoms for every 1 chlorine molecule. So that's going to be the mole ratio. 2 sodium for every 1 chlorine. And remember, in stoichiometry problems, the mole ratio is going to be our conversion factor. And so, as with all of our conversions, we want our old units to cancel and we want to get the new units. In this case, I want to figure out the moles of chlorine. So I'm going to put my 1 mole Cl2 up here. If you've forgotten, remember that the absence of a coefficient up here means that's a 1. So 1 mole of Cl2 reacts with every 2 moles of sodium. My moles of sodium cancel out, and I end up with 5 divided by 2. So that's 2.5 moles of Cl2. And that's my answer. That's what I'm trying to find. How many moles of Cl2, chlorine gas? If you're confused about how to put this into your calculator, or hopefully in your head for this problem, remember, you can always write this first number over 1 to remind yourself that it's in the numerator of some fraction. So we're taking 5 and then we're dividing it by any numbers in the bottom. So that's a 2. and 5 divided by 2 is 2.5.